mulberry, and it's naturalized in my region. It's not native. People brought it in. And of this tree, all I got on is one little entry in Plants for a Future. Medicinal use of paper mulberry. It is astringent, diuretic, tonic, and vulnerary. Now, if you've been listening to the show, you know what that means. If you're new to the show, astringent means it tightens and tonifies tissue. Diuretic means it removes excess fluids from the body. Tonic, it means it tonifies, but generally when someone says tonic, they mean it tonifies the digestive system. It makes the stomach work a little better. And vulnerary means it helps heal wounds. The leaves used is diaphoretic and laxative. There's another, 27-letter word. Diaphoretic, it helps with fevers. And laxative, you probably know what that means. Speaking of old Southern characters, you remember that? I love James Gregory. I hope you love James Gregory. James Gregory is the funniest man on earth. He said, you remember that commercial? It was an X-Lax commercial, and it said, X-Lax is our family's friend. I want to know where those people go on vacation so I can avoid it. He said the motto for X-Lax, it works while you sleep. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. I want to be up and ready to go. But anyway, yes, paper mulberry has some laxative quality and is also used in the treatment of dysentery. So it can help you go and it can dry things up when you got diarrhea. It is also poultice for various skin disorders. That's that vulnerary quality. The stem bark is hemostatic. The fruit is diuretic, ophthalmic, stimulant, stomatic, and tonic. Ophthalmic, I guess, is the only weird word in that. It means it's good for the eyes. Can help with eye inflammation. The root is cooked with other foods as a galactagogue. Now, what's a galactagogue? It means it actually increases mother's milk. A lot of herbs do that. About 2 years ago, there was this big shortage of baby formula. And I was on Twitter, and there are thousands of women freaking out because they can't get baby formula. And I said, don't worry, y'all. I actually know probably 100 herbs or more that will increase lactation. Not a single one of them was interested. Several accused me of being a male chauvinist and I didn't know anything about women. We're in a bad place when women don't want to do what God designed them to do, but they want to buy something from a store, and if it isn't available, they want to complain to the government. I'm just going to put that out. That may be the most controversial statement I've made, but there wasn't a single woman, and I'm talking literally out of hundreds, if not 1,000, that wanted to know what herbs would increase breast milk. I guess they'd rather their babies starve to death. And that's the world you live in today. And that is a shame. We'll just put it that way. Now, the next one I'm going to get into is Caprinus. Capinus. That didn't sound right, did it? But that's actually the name. It's Carpinus. Let's see if I can get it right. Carpinus. Hornbeam. I may have to cut that out. That didn't sound good at all, but that's Hornbeam. 4 hornbeams have been used in herbal medicine. Carpinus betulus hornbeam, Carpinus carolinea, that's the one we have mostly, American hornbeam, Carpinus americana, Carpinus cordata, and Carpinus laxiflora. Only the Carolina is native to my area, and the hornbeam is in the birch family, so it's pretty much used like the birch we talked about last week. Native Americans were known to have used the bark as astringent against diarrhea. The leaves may be used to stop bleeding and heal wounds. A Bach flower remedy uses hornbeam for tiredness and exhaustion. Now, Bach flower is sort of like homeopathy. It's not standard or herbal medicine. You'll just have to look that up. Actually, on my Southern Appalachian Herbs podcast, I did a really good interview with the homeopathic herbalist Tori. We talked a lot about Bach flower remedies, and they're actually apparently called botch. because they're English and they like to say botch instead of Bach, but you know, I don't say it that way, and I don't know why you should. I also don't say herb. But anyway, Virginia ironwood is in the same family, and it's Ostrea virginiana, and it's closely related to hornbeam. It grows in my region, obviously. I'm just like, not that far from Virginia. It has more traditional use in herbal medicine, and it was much used by Native American tribes in the region, and there are several. I'm not going to try to list them all. Bark's astringent, but also analgesic. It's used for sore muscles, toothaches, bruises, sores, and sprains. So analgesic means like pain reducing, like a aspirin or Tylenol. It is used as a blood tonic and for stopping bleeding and hemorrhaging. Ironwood is also used for rheumatism and arthritis in a soak. So that is a super useful plant, and also an extremely valuable tree. I mean, that whole name, ironwood, kind of tells you that's a pretty darn strong wood. So much sought after in the Appalachians, actually. And then we'll get into the one I actually mentioned at the start of the show, which is Korea, actually known as hickory. And there are 18 varieties of hickory known in medicinal use, and 12 that are native to my region. This is literally one of the most important trees in North Carolina. We've got butternuts, pig nuts, mocker nuts. Much of the Confederate Army actually dyed their uniforms with dye made from hickory nuts. You want to know what's called a mocker nut? Try to crack one open. It is the most difficult nut to eat, but another name being sweet pig nut hickory. It's actually, it's somewhere between a walnut and a pecan. They're both in the same family. Absolutely delicious. I'd probably rather have hickory nuts to eat than, I'm big on hazelnuts. I love pecans, but black walnuts, I probably would prefer hickory nuts, actually. Chestnuts, a real old-fashioned chestnut is really good, too. I have to put in a plug for that, but hickory nuts are amazing, and my favorite way to use them, because they get broken up when you crack them. It's really impossible to get a whole hickory nut, which is why you never see them in the store. Make ice cream with them. Do vanilla ice cream with hickory nuts, and wow, a shot of bourbon, forget it. That's going to be like the best thing you ever had in your life. Or a hickory nut pie. You can make the same as you would pecan pie, put some bourbon and chocolate in there, and you will thank me for that. That will blow your mind, and you will not ever find anything better you can put in your mouth. Seriously. The cracked chopped nuts are fantastic with sausage, scrambled eggs for breakfast. Really one of my favorite things. And the pecan is technically, so is the walnut, in the same family. Pecan will usually be called Korea Illinoisenses, even though, I don't know, there were plenty of pecans around here before anyone ever got to Illinois. Don't ask me. But hickories are common and plentiful in North Carolina. Traditionally, their wood has been valuable for both furniture making and smoking pork barbecue. That's what North Carolina is known for. We're known for cotton, tobacco, furniture, and barbecue, okay? And hickory wood is essential to at least two of those. The nuts are crazy tasty, and the pecan is probably the most widely grown drupe. It's not actually a nut, it's a drupe. So if you wanted to say tree fruit that isn't an apple, pecan would probably actually surpass it. The main thing about it is the bark is astringent. It's good for treating wounds. Very likely, like walnut, the leaves have some vermifuge or anti-parasitic properties. All members of this family, which are the Juglandaceae family, secrete juglone from the roots. It's a plant hormone that prevents other plants from growing close enough to compete for resources such as sunlight, water, etc., space. Traditionally, it's believed that juglone is useful in making the human body inhospitable to worms, parasites, etc. So, got my tongue a little tied there, but inhospitable. Juglone, as it repels other plants from growing around the walnut, hickory, pecan trees, has been believed to keep one free of parasites in the body. I don't know whether the juggling actually does that or not. I do know that the leaves of these trees are good against intestinal parasites, and rubbed on the body can help keep bugs off. They're really very useful, actually. And, as a kid, the horses used to eat pecan leaves or walnut leaves or something. And, the old folks would say, don't let them have too much, but they know what they're doing. They know what they need. It would keep them free of worms and parasites. It seemed to work. That's all I can tell you. I don't know if it's ever been proven, but I would certainly think that would be a good thing to do. Hickory smoke was also used in the curing of meat to prevent infestation by insects. So, again, these plants do seem to have vermifuge or insecticidal properties. One thing I do know, hickory smoke makes any meat taste good, cooked low and slow. I cook my pork over hickory. I smoke my turkeys over hickory. I smoke my beef over hickory. Hickory is like the magic ingredient. I might add some cherry and apple wood. Oak just more for the heat than anything else. Hickory is North Carolina in a bite of meat. Let me just put it that way. It is hickory smoked bacon. Oh, wow. So anyway, Resources of the Southern Fields and Forests states the barks of this family of plants are astringent. Mr. Fred Stearns of Detroit, I don't know who Fred Stearns is, but apparently he did some studies on hickory, has called attention to the bark of several species of hickory in his paper on the medicinal plants of Michigan, published in the Professional Pharmacy Association's 1859 publication. So, all right, take that for what you will. Mr. Chaffenbury of the same state has found great advantage from the chewing of the inner bark for dyspepsia, that means stomach upset, and has used tincture made from the same bark in intermittent fever. Many in the neighborhood used it, and the infusion is found equally effectual. So, y'all, that wraps up 3 great trees, 3 very useful trees, and we chatted about a few other things. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to go put together a bicycle. Have a great week, and I will talk to you next time.
The information in this podcast is not intended to diagnose or treat any disease or condition. Nothing I say or write has been evaluated or approved by the FDA. I'm not a doctor. The U.S. government does not recognize the practice of herbal medicine, and there is no governing body regulating herbalists. Therefore, I'm really just a guy who studies herbs. I'm not offering any advice. I won't even claim that anything I write or say is accurate or true. I can tell you what herbs have been traditionally used for. I can tell you my own experience and if I believe an herb has helped me. I cannot nor would I tell you to do the same. If you use an herb anyone recommends, you are treating yourself. You take full responsibility for your health. Humans are individuals and no two are identical. What works for me may not work for you. You may have an allergy, a sensitivity, an underlying condition that no one else even shares and you don't even know about. Be careful with your health. By continuing to listen to my podcast or read my blog, you agree to be responsible for yourself, do your own research, make your own choices, and not to blame me for anything ever.